The holographic display flickered to life, casting a soft blue glow across the vast conference chamber of the Astral Confederation. Senior analyst Crovan adjusted the projection, revealing a seemingly insignificant blue-green planet rotating slowly against the backdrop of endless stars. Earth, a world that had barely registered on the galactic community's radar until now. Surrounding the central platform, representatives from 17 different star systems leaned forward with varying degrees of interest. Some appeared bored, their multifaceted eyes glazing over, while others watched with a hint of curiosity that betrayed their professional demeanor. Initial observations are perplexing. Crovan began, his translator rendering the words in multiple galactic languages simultaneously. A series of data streams cascaded around the holographic image, highlighting key points of interest. The planet exhibits a remarkable level of technological disparity that defies our standard classification models. The hologram zoomed in, revealing a complex network of lights representing human technological infrastructure. Cities glowed like nervous systems, interconnected yet chaotically arranged. Satellite networks formed intricate webs around the planet, more complex than initial scans had suggested. Despite possessing communication and computational technologies that approach mid-tier galactic standards, Crovan continued, the species appears remarkably fractured. Multiple governance systems compete simultaneously. Their energy production methods are inefficient, relying heavily on combustion-based technologies that most civilizations abandoned millennia ago. A representative from the crystalline consensus shifted, crystalline appendages moving with precise calculation. Preliminary recommendation. Crovan's data projection shifted, showing economic maps, technological development charts, and sociological analysis. Limited engagement protocol. The planet shows potential for controlled diplomatic integration. Their technological base is just sophisticated enough to be useful, yet primitive enough to be easily managed. The chamber remained silent, the weight of potential galactic politics hanging in the air. Unbeknownst to the gathered representatives, the transmission they were analyzing had been carefully curated. What they saw was precisely what humanity wanted them to see, a world of potential, yet fundamentally manageable. Deep within secure facilities across Earth, teams of scientists, strategists, and engineers monitored the alien communications. They had spent decades cultivating this exact perception, a delicate balance between technological capability and apparent vulnerability. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, head of the Global Adaptive Response Initiative, watched the alien transmission with a slight smile. Years of careful preparation had led to this moment. Every communication, every technological leak, every intercepted signal had been meticulously designed to present Earth as an emerging, but not threatening, civilization. The alien analysis missed critical details. They did not see the quantum computing networks hidden beneath seemingly mundane infrastructure. They could not comprehend the adaptive artificial intelligence systems that had been quietly developing in research facilities around the globe. The global collaboration that appeared chaotic was, in fact, a carefully orchestrated dance of innovation. More importantly, they failed to understand the human capacity for rapid adaptation. Where other civilizations developed technology through linear progression, humans approached innovation like a living organism, unpredictable, responsive, and fundamentally creative. Back in the conference chamber, Crovan concluded his presentation. We recommend a soft approach. Preliminary diplomatic contact, careful economic engagement. The potential resource extraction and technological absorption make this planet a prime candidate for gradual integration. What the Astral Confederation did not realize was that every aspect of their observation had been anticipated. The very systems they believed they were analyzing were, in fact, analyzing them. As the holographic display faded and the representatives began their discussions, the seeds of a much larger story were already taking root. Earth was not waiting to be discovered. It was waiting to be understood. Beneath the surface of apparent vulnerability lay a civilization preparing for a future that no galactic model could predict. A world ready to show that true strength was never about immediate power, but about the capacity to transform, to adapt, and to surprise. The starship Horizon Breaker hung in the darkness of space, its advanced camouflage systems rendering it nearly invisible to conventional detection methods. Commander Elia Starwind studied the holographic displays with growing unease. Something about Earth defied their most sophisticated scanning technologies. Her team represented the pinnacle of the Astral Confederation's reconnaissance capabilities. Specialists in sinological observation, each member had been selected for their ability to analyze and interpret alien civilizations. Yet Earth presented a puzzle unlike any they had encountered before. Quantum entanglement scans are inconclusive, reported Senior Analyst Kren, his multiple sensory tendrils manipulating complex data streams. The planetary communication networks demonstrate an adaptive complexity that should be impossible for a civilization at their reported technological stage. Elia zoomed in on a network map of Earth's communication infrastructure. What should have been a predictable grid of transmission points appeared more like a living organism. Connections formed and dissolved in milliseconds, routes constantly reconfiguring in patterns that defied standard computational models. Observe, Kren continued, highlighting a series of data points. When our initial probes attempted to penetrate their primary communication networks, the entire system restructured itself. Not just a single pathway, but the entire network instantaneously adapted. The ship's central display showed a visualization of their scanning attempts. Each probe met with an increasingly complex response. Where a traditional civilization would have static defensive protocols, Earth's systems seemed to learn and evolve in real time. Chief Scientific Officer Dr. Zara Vex leaned forward, her crystalline analysis matrix humming with intense processing power. These are not standard defensive mechanisms. It's as if the entire planetary communication infrastructure is a single distributed intelligence. Elia understood the implications. Most galactic civilizations developed communication technologies as separate, manageable systems. Firewalls, communication protocols, and network defenses were predictable. But Earth was something entirely different. Their initial mission parameters had been straightforward. Conduct a comprehensive scan of planetary capabilities, identify potential resource extraction points, and assess technological readiness for potential diplomatic engagement. What they were discovering challenged every assumption. Look at the energy distribution patterns, Zara pointed out. The holographic display showed a complex network of energy production and distribution that seemed to defy traditional infrastructure models. Renewable energy sources interlinked with traditional power grids in ways that suggested a level of systemic thinking far beyond expected capabilities. Buried deep within seemingly ordinary communication towers and energy stations were layers of technological complexity that their most advanced scanning systems could barely comprehend. Each time they thought they had isolated a predictable pattern, the systems would shift, reconfigure, and present an entirely new configuration. "We're missing something," Elia muttered, her intuition honed by decades of interstellar exploration. "These humans are showing us exactly what they want us to see." A junior officer interrupted, his voice tinged with excitement. "Commander, we've detected something unusual in their global information networks. They appear to be aware of our observation." The revelation sent a subtle tension through the ship's crew. Most civilizations would panic or attempt to hide when discovered. Earth seemed to be doing something entirely different. They were observing the observers. Kren's analysis showed something extraordinary. Their scanning attempts were not just being deflected. They were being studied, analyzed, and processed by a planetary-scale information network that seemed to treat their reconnaissance as a complex problem to be solved. "It's like they're conducting their own investigation of us," Zara observed, her analysis matrix working overtime to process the implications. Elia knew they were at a critical moment. The Astral Confederation expected a comprehensive report detailing Earth's vulnerabilities. But what they would receive was something far more complex, a glimpse into a civilization that refused to be easily categorized or understood. As the Horizon Breaker continued its silent observation, Earth continued its dance of technological complexity. Each moment revealed new layers of sophistication. Each scan uncovered deeper mysteries. Humanity was not waiting to be discovered. It was waiting to be understood. And understanding would come at a price far greater than any of them could currently imagine. Dr. Helena Martinez watched the complex data streams with a calculated calm that belied the magnitude of what was unfolding. In a nondescript research facility buried beneath layers of misdirection, her team monitored the alien reconnaissance mission with a precision that would have shocked the extraterrestrial observers. The global network was more than a communication system. It was a living, breathing entity of information and adaptation. Each alien scanning attempt triggered a cascade of responses that went far beyond simple defensive protocols. The planetary communication infrastructure responded like an intelligent organism, analyzing the intrusion, understanding its parameters, and reshaping itself in real time. "Incoming quantum probe," whispered Marcus Chen, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces, initiating adaptive response sequence. The probe from the alien vessel penetrated Earth's outer communication layers. Typically, such an intrusion would trigger standard defensive mechanisms, firewalls, encryption, data scrambling. Instead, something far more sophisticated happened. The probe found itself navigating through a network that continuously rewrote its own architecture. Pathways appeared and disappeared. Information streams divided, merged, and transformed. What should have been a straightforward data interception became a complex maze of adaptive intelligence. "They're trying to understand us," Helena murmured, studying the intricate dance of technological responses. But understanding requires more than just observation. Across the globe, seemingly unrelated systems began to interact. A solar farm in the Mojave Desert synchronized its energy output with communication towers in Tokyo. Quantum computing clusters in research universities created temporary networks that existed for mere milliseconds. Satellite communication systems developed spontaneous routing algorithms that defied traditional networking principles. The alien reconnaissance team aboard the Horizon Breaker grew increasingly frustrated. Their most advanced scanning technologies encountered something unprecedented. Each attempt to map the planetary communication infrastructure resulted in a completely different configuration. Commander Elias Starwind reviewed the latest data streams with growing concern. "This is impossible," she said to her chief scientific officer. "No civilization develops communication networks like this." What the aliens failed to understand was the fundamental principle driving Earth's technological development. Humanity had learned that survival depended not on rigid structures, but on the ability to adapt, to change, to become something entirely unexpected. The global network was more than a technological system. It was a reflection of human creativity, resilience, and collective problem-solving. Dr. Zora Vex's analysis matrix worked overtime, attempting to decode the planetary communication patterns. "It's like the entire planet is one massive, distributed intelligence," she reported. "Each system learns from the others, adapts, evolves." Buried within the communication networks were layers of complexity that went beyond traditional technological understanding. Machine learning algorithms developed by different research teams around the world have begun to communicate with each other, creating a form of collective artificial intelligence that no single group fully understood. A quantum computing cluster in a Brazilian research university would spontaneously share optimization algorithms with a renewable energy management system in South Korea. An advanced climate modeling program in Canada would contribute predictive capabilities to a transportation network optimization system in India. The aliens saw chaos. Humanity saw collaboration. Each scanning attempt by the Horizon Breaker revealed new layers of complexity. Communication pathways that seemed random were actually highly sophisticated routing mechanisms. Energy distribution systems that appeared inefficient were actually adaptive networks capable of instantaneous reconfiguration. "They're watching us watch them," Marcus observed, a hint of excitement in his voice. "And they're learning more about us with every scan." Helena nodded. The reconnaissance mission was not just being observed. It was being studied, analyzed, and understood in ways the alien civilization could not comprehend. As the Horizon Breaker continued its silent observation, Earth's global network continued its dance of technological complexity. Each moment revealed new layers of sophistication. Each scan uncovered deeper mysteries. Humanity was presenting a puzzle that defied conventional understanding. A civilization that did not just adapt, but transformed. A planetary system that was more than the sum of its parts. And the true nature of their capabilities was just beginning to reveal itself. The Astral Confederation's reconnaissance vessel, Nexus Pathfinder, represented the pinnacle of galactic scanning and infiltration technology. Its hull incorporated metamaterials that could bend electromagnetic radiation, rendering it virtually undetectable by conventional tracking systems. Advanced quantum camouflage generators ensured that even the most sophisticated planetary defense networks would struggle to identify its approach. Commander Rael Voxen reviewed the mission parameters with cold precision. This was to be a controlled probe, a carefully orchestrated test of Earth's defensive capabilities. The vessel carried an array of scanning technologies that had successfully mapped hundreds of developing civilizations across the galaxy. "Initiating approach vector," announced the navigation officer, his multi-jointed appendages moving with practiced efficiency. What happened next would be recorded as one of the most unexpected moments in galactic exploration history. The Nexus Pathfinder began its carefully calculated approach to Earth's orbital space. Its quantum signature dampeners should have rendered it completely invisible. Its adaptive scanning systems were designed to penetrate any known planetary defense network. The first indication that something was wrong came milliseconds after the ship crossed what should have been an undetectable approach boundary. A series of energy signatures began to coalesce around the vessel. They were not weapons, not in any traditional sense. Instead, they were complex information networks that seemed to materialize from nowhere, wrapping around the ship's quantum signature like living tendrils of data. "Impossible," muttered Rael, watching as the ship's advanced cloaking systems began to destabilize. The ship's primary systems started to fragment, not through direct attack, but through a process that seemed more like systematic deconstruction. Communication pathways collapsed. Quantum encryption keys were systematically dismantled. The very fabric of the ship's technological infrastructure began to unravel. What should have been a moment of technological superiority became a lesson in humility. Aboard a ground-based monitoring station, Dr. Helena Martinez and her team watched the unfolding scenario with calculated precision. Each alien scanning attempt was not just being blocked. It was being studied, analyzed, and systematically neutralized. "They're using our own technological principles against us," Marcus Chen observed, his fingers dancing across complex holographic interfaces. The defense system was unlike anything in galactic records. It wasn't a traditional shield or weapon system. Instead, it was a distributed network of information processing that could deconstruct technological intrusions at their most fundamental level. Quantum entanglement sensors that the Nexus Pathfinder carried began to report impossible readings. The planetary defense network wasn't just detecting the ship, it was understanding it. Breaking down its technological components, analyzing its potential threat vectors, and developing neutralization strategies in real time. Commander Rael Voxen watched in growing horror as the ship's most advanced systems were systematically dismantled. Not destroyed, dismantled. Each technological component was carefully analyzed, its potential threat assessed, and neutralized with surgical precision. "This is not possible," the ship's chief scientific officer repeated, a note of panic creeping into her voice. Within less than 7 minutes, the Nexus Pathfinder had been completely neutralized, not through violence, not through destruction, but through a process that was more akin to technological dissection. Pieces of the ship's most advanced scanning equipment were carefully collected by automated systems that seemed to emerge from nowhere. Orbital platforms that had appeared completely dormant suddenly displayed levels of technological sophistication that defied current galactic understanding. The message was clear. Earth was not vulnerable. Earth was waiting. Back in the Astral Confederation's Central Command, the footage of the neutralization would be analyzed repeatedly. Technological experts would argue for weeks about what had actually occurred. What they failed to understand was the fundamental principle that drove human technological development. Adaptation was not just a strategy. It was a way of existence. The Nexus Pathfinder became more than just a failed mission. It became a warning. A signal that humanity was something entirely different from what the galactic community had assumed. And this was just the beginning. The emergency session of the Astral Confederation's High Council erupted in a cacophony of voices. Holographic displays flickered with the remnants of the Nexus Pathfinder's final transmission, a chilling record of technological deconstruction that defied every known principle of galactic warfare and exploration. Supreme Strategist Vorlek stood at the center of the chamber, his crystalline form reflecting the heated discussions around him. "We are dealing with something unprecedented," he announced, silencing the room. "Earth is not just another developing civilization. It is a living, adaptive technological ecosystem." Across multiple research stations, teams of the most advanced scientists in the galactic community began a comprehensive analysis of the neutralized reconnaissance vessel. What they discovered only deepened the mystery. Each technological component told a story of complexity beyond comprehension. The ship's quantum encryption systems had been dismantled not through brute force, but through an almost surgical understanding of their fundamental architectural principles. Scanning technologies that should have been impenetrable were carefully unraveled, their inner workings exposed and neutralized with precision that bordered on the impossible. Dr. Zara Vex, leading the technical investigation, found herself confronting a fundamental paradox. "The defensive systems we encountered are not just technological," she reported to the High Council. "They represent a form of distributed intelligence that adapts faster than our ability to analyze it." What the aliens failed to understand was the fundamental approach to technology that defined human innovation. Where most galactic civilizations developed technological systems as discrete, manageable entities, humans had created something entirely different. Their planetary network was alive. Energy production systems communicated with communication networks. Climate monitoring platforms shared data with transportation optimization algorithms. Research facilities across the globe contributed to a collective intelligence that no single entity fully comprehended. A renewable energy grid in Germany would spontaneously optimize its output based on predictive algorithms developed by a machine learning team in Singapore. A quantum computing cluster in Brazil would share computational resources with a medical research center in India. Transportation systems in multiple countries would adjust their routing in real time based on complex environmental and social data streams. The Astral Confederation saw chaos. Humanity saw collaboration. Commander Elias Starwind reviewed the accumulated data with growing unease. The neutralization of the Nexus Pathfinder was not an isolated incident. It was a carefully orchestrated demonstration of capabilities. "They want us to see this," she told her senior staff. "This is a message." Indeed, every aspect of the technological response seemed calculated, not as a show of force, but as a complex communication, a warning, a demonstration of potential. The most unsettling aspect was the selective nature of the response. The planetary defense systems had not destroyed the reconnaissance vessel. They had carefully dismantled it, analyzed it, and preserved its most critical components. It was as if humanity was conducting its own study of the alien technology. Vorlek's analysis revealed layers of complexity that challenged fundamental understanding. The planetary communication networks were not just adaptive. They were predictive. They could anticipate technological approaches before they were fully implemented. "We are dealing with a civilization that does not think in linear technological progression," Dr. Zara Vex concluded in her final report. "Their technological development is more akin to a living organism. It learns, adapts, transforms." The High Council fell silent as the implications became clear. Earth was not a developing civilization waiting to be cataloged or controlled. It was a complex, adaptive system that defied traditional galactic understanding. Each technological layer revealed new mysteries. Each analysis uncovered deeper complexities. The more they studied, the less they understood. Humanity had presented the galaxy with a puzzle that would challenge everything they knew about technological development, communication, and the very nature of intelligent systems. And they were just beginning to reveal their true potential. The Global Collaborative Research Network convened in a moment of unprecedented unity. Representatives from research institutions, government agencies, and private technology firms gathered in a secure facility that existed both physically and within an advanced digital ecosystem. Dr. Helena Martinez stood at the center of a holographic display that represented the most complex collaborative effort in human history. What the Astral Confederation saw as disconnected systems was actually a carefully orchestrated symphony of human innovation. "We are no longer responding," she addressed the gathered experts. "We are communicating." Each technological sector began to demonstrate capabilities that defied traditional understanding. Medical research teams in Japan shared breakthrough neural network algorithms with environmental monitoring systems in Brazil. Quantum computing clusters in India synchronized with renewable energy optimization platforms in Germany. The collaborative approach was not just about sharing information. It was about creating a living, breathing technological ecosystem that could adapt, learn, and transform faster than any external observation could comprehend. A climate research team in Canada discovered that their predictive models were being instantaneously enhanced by machine learning algorithms developed by an artificial intelligence group in South Korea. Transportation optimization systems in the United States began to incorporate real-time data from agricultural monitoring platforms in Australia. What appeared chaotic was actually a carefully designed system of collective intelligence. Commander Rael Voxen of the Astral Confederation watched the intercepted communications with growing confusion. The human communication networks defied every known principle of technological development. Information flowed like a living organism, adapting and reshaping itself in ways that seemed to challenge the very laws of computational science. "They are not developing technology," the chief scientific officer observed. "They are cultivating it." Each technological breakthrough was not the result of a single research team or institution. It was a global collaborative effort that transcended traditional boundaries of discipline, geography, and institutional limitations. A breakthrough in quantum computing in a small research laboratory in Kenya would be instantaneously integrated with advanced medical research happening in a hospital in Sweden. An innovative approach to renewable energy storage, developed by a startup in Chile, would be rapidly enhanced by theoretical physicists in Russia. The most advanced artificial intelligence systems were not centralized. They were distributed, collaborative networks that learned and evolved through continuous global interaction. The Astral Confederation's most sophisticated scanning technologies captured only fragments of this complex ecosystem. What they saw was a mere surface representation of a much deeper, more intricate system of collective innovation. Dr. Marcus Chen, leading a global network optimization team, explained the fundamental principle to his international colleagues. "We are not building technology," he said. "We are creating a living technological organism that can think, adapt, and evolve faster than any external system can comprehend." Vorlik, the senior strategist of the Astral Confederation, reviewed the accumulated data with increasing concern. The human approach to technological development was unlike anything in galactic records. Where most civilizations developed technology through linear progression, humans had created a system that was more akin to a biological ecosystem. Each technological component was not just a static piece of infrastructure. It was a dynamic, adaptive entity that could learn, modify, and transform itself in real time. The global research network was solving problems before they were fully articulated. Climate change mitigation strategies were being developed simultaneously across multiple continents. Medical research was advancing at a pace that seemed to defy traditional scientific methodologies. What the aliens saw as vulnerability was actually the most sophisticated form of collective problem-solving in the known galaxy. As the holographic displays continued to show the complex interactions of global technological systems, one thing became increasingly clear. Humanity was not just developing technology. They were reimagining the very concept of technological evolution. The message to the galactic community was subtle but unmistakable. We are not waiting to be discovered. We are waiting to be understood. And understanding would require a complete reimagining of what technological intelligence could mean. The central chamber of the Astral Confederation's High Council descended into a silence so profound it seemed to consume the very air. Holographic displays flickered with increasingly complex data streams, each visualization more perplexing than the last. Supreme Strategist Vorlek stood motionless, his crystalline form refracting the light of countless failed reconnaissance attempts. What had begun as a routine planetary assessment had transformed into the most complex strategic challenge in galactic history. "We are not dealing with a civilization," Dr. Zara Vex reported, her voice devoid of emotion. "We are confronting a living, adaptive planetary intelligence." The accumulated data painted a terrifying picture. Every technological probe, every scanning attempt, every strategic approach had been systematically neutralized, not through traditional defensive mechanisms, but through a process of adaptive understanding that defied all known principles of technological interaction. Reconnaissance teams had disappeared not through destruction, but through a process of comprehensive deconstruction. Their most advanced technologies were carefully analyzed, understood, and then neutralized with surgical precision. It was as if the entire planet was a massive distributed intelligence that could anticipate and respond to threats before they fully materialized. Commander Elias Darwin reviewed the final transmission logs. Each communication revealed layers of complexity that challenged fundamental understanding. The human communication networks were not just adaptive, they were predictive. They could understand and neutralize technological approaches before they were fully implemented. "They know us better than we know ourselves," muttered the chief intelligence officer, a tremor of fear underlying her words. The strategic retreat was not a decision. It was a necessity. Global communication networks on Earth continued their complex dance of information and adaptation. Research facilities across multiple continents shared breakthroughs in real time. A quantum computing breakthrough in a small laboratory in Kenya would be instantaneously integrated with advanced medical research in a hospital in Sweden. What the Astral Confederation saw as chaos was actually the most sophisticated form of collective intelligence ever encountered. Vorlek compiled the final report. Each word was carefully chosen, each observation meticulously documented. The conclusions were clear. Earth was not a planet to be cataloged or controlled. It was a complex, adaptive system that defied every known principle of galactic exploration. The reconnaissance attempts had revealed something far more profound than technological capabilities. They had uncovered a fundamental approach to existence that was entirely alien to galactic understanding. Humanity's technological ecosystem was not a static infrastructure. It was a living, breathing entity that could learn, adapt, and transform faster than any external system could comprehend. Research facilities worked in a global symphony, sharing breakthroughs across disciplines and geographical boundaries. "We are withdrawing all observation teams," Vorlek announced to the High Council. "Any further approach risks complete technological compromise." The decision was unprecedented. In the entire history of the Astral Confederation, no developing civilization had ever been deemed too complex to study. Yet Earth presented a unique challenge, a planetary intelligence that could deconstruct and understand external technologies faster than they could be deployed. Dr. Zara Vex's final analysis captured the essence of their discovery. "Humanity is not developing technology," she concluded. "They are cultivating a living technological ecosystem that adapts, learns, and evolves in ways we cannot comprehend." The holographic displays began to dim, each visualization a testament to the complex encounter. Fragments of data danced across the screens, glimpses of a civilization that refused to be understood through traditional observational methods. As the final reports were compiled, one message became crystal clear: Earth was waiting. not as a vulnerable planet ready for exploration, but as a complex, adaptive intelligence that could dismantle any external threat before it fully materialized. The strategic retreat was more than a diplomatic decision. It was a moment of cosmic humility. Humanity had presented the galaxy with a puzzle that would challenge everything known about technological development, communication, and the very nature of intelligent systems. And they were just beginning to reveal their true potential. The final transmission from the Astral Confederation arrived in a moment of profound silence. Research facilities around the globe received the encrypted message simultaneously, a testament to the global communication network that had become humanity's most sophisticated defense. Dr. Helena Martinez gathered her team in a secure facility that existed both as a physical space and within an advanced digital ecosystem. The holographic displays showed the decoded message, a formal withdrawal of all observational and potential engagement protocols. "They're not just leaving," Marcus Chen observed, analyzing the transmission's intricate data layers. "They're acknowledging something fundamental about our existence." The message was more than a diplomatic communication. It was a cosmic declaration of respect. The Astral Confederation had encountered a civilization that defied every known principle of technological and social development. What began as a routine planetary assessment had transformed into the most complex first contact scenario in galactic history. Humanity had not fought a traditional battle. They had presented a puzzle so complex that it rendered conventional exploration impossible. Vorlek's final report was a masterpiece of strategic communication. It detailed how Earth's technological ecosystem functioned as a single adaptive intelligence. Research networks that appeared disconnected were actually a living, breathing system of collective problem-solving. Medical breakthroughs in one continent would instantaneously inform climate research in another. Quantum computing developments would reshape energy production systems in real time. The global research network had solved problems before they were fully articulated. Climate change mitigation strategies emerged through collaborative efforts that transcended traditional boundaries of discipline and geography. Medical research advanced at a pace that seemed to defy traditional scientific methodologies. What the aliens had initially perceived as vulnerability was actually the most sophisticated form of collective intelligence in the known galaxy. Commander Elias Darwin's personal log, recovered from the neutralized reconnaissance vessel, provided the most profound insight. "We came to observe," her final entry read, "and discovered something far beyond observation. Humanity is not a civilization to be studied. It is a living system that must be understood." The implications were staggering. Earth had not just defended itself. It had conducted a comprehensive study of the alien civilization through their very attempt to study it. Every scanning attempt, every communication probe had been an opportunity for humanity to learn, adapt, and understand. Dr. Zara Vex's analysis captured the essence of the encounter. Humanity's approach to technology was fundamentally different from any known galactic civilization. Where others saw infrastructure, humans created ecosystems. Where others built systems, humans cultivated living networks of intelligence. Global research facilities continued their work, seemingly unaffected by the monumental encounter. A breakthrough in quantum computing in a small laboratory in Kenya would be instantaneously integrated with advanced medical research in a hospital in Sweden. An innovative approach to renewable energy storage, developed by a startup in Chile, would be rapidly enhanced by theoretical physicists in Russia. The message to the galactic community was subtle but unmistakable. We are not waiting to be discovered. We are waiting to be understood. As the final transmissions were processed, a sense of profound possibility emerged. This was not a moment of conflict or conquest. It was a moment of cosmic recognition. Humanity had presented the galaxy with a fundamental reimagining of what technological intelligence could mean. In research facilities, government offices, and collaborative spaces around the globe, researchers and strategists understood the deeper significance. This was not just a defensive victory. It was an invitation to a different way of understanding existence. The final intercepted communication from the Astral Confederation's High Council captured the moment perfectly. We came to catalog the transmission read and discovered a living intelligence that cannot be contained. Humanity had not just survived in potential invasion. They had redefined the very concept of first contact. And they were just beginning to reveal their true potential.